Hello, everyone. It's Jazz. It's the West Ham Irons channel. It's another show. Very, very busy time at the moment for West Ham United, as you can imagine. A lot of things going on around the club, most of them not very good. So, yeah, the show for today. Question is up there. Who will be the next West Ham boss? I think it's only a matter of time. I think the time has certainly come to an end for David Moyes. And like I first mentioned, with respect, I want to thank him for what he's done for the club. 2.5 years. He's put us on a reasonably sort of safe foundation, even though we're only 2 points ahead of relegation at the moment. But the time has come. I think he's got no more new ideas to give to the club. He's got no way of improving players out of form. No way of integrating the new players that have come. They look worse than they played last season for their respective clubs. There's no change of tactics. There's nothing he's got up his sleeve anymore. The players are probably as fit as they're ever going to be. They're just mentally not fit, if you see what I mean. It's just a lot of the game is on the mental side of things, and mentally I think they're tired playing the way they do, the pressing game. It kind of wears you down, as you can see with Liverpool and things like that. You just need to reinvent the wheel, and he's not been able to do it. And like I said, it's a case of a very slow sort of train that chugs along in reverse gear. So every 5 games, yeah, you'll get the odd win, odd draw. But alongside that, you'll pick up 3-4 defeats, and then we go again. It's not good enough. And it's the style of football is boring the pants of all the West Ham United fans to a level where there's no atmosphere at the club anymore. At the ground, it's absolutely dead. And it's just going all the way down. We've peaked under David. So this show is about looking at what's out there. And funny enough, we're going to be looking at, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 potential candidates for the position, the very well-respected position, one of the top jobs in football. Because I think when you look at the clubs in the world in terms of size, the fans, things like that, we've got to be in the top 15, something like that, you know. Spent a lot of money in the summer, got a lot of players, a lot of good players in the squad that other clubs would love to have, and a squad that I believe that all these managers would love to work with. I think it's a great foundation. It's a London-based club, biggest capital cities in the world, great place to live, whether they've got a partner or not, or children or not. It's a great country to bring up the family, London. It's the strongest league in the world, and we are sort of, top 15, top 20 big clubs in the world, and we're up there, hopefully. Well, we've been in the Premiership for a couple of years or more. We nicely settled in there, and I think it's a good job for all these managers. And I mean, obviously, as we go through the show, I will sort of tell you who I would want and how I would select a new manager. So let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. And hopefully I've covered most of the managers that you've been thinking of. I mean, I'm covering 7, 8. I can't do any more than that, and I probably have missed out 1 or 2. But let's quickly go through them. And if I was Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Gold, Kotensky, then there'll be five things I would look at in terms of looking for the new manager of West Ham United. And I think the number one most important thing for me, and let me know in the comments for you what it would be. So for me, and especially for West Ham United being a different type of club to a lot of clubs, is this one, the style of football. I think the style of football is very, very important to West Ham United, as David Moyes will probably find out soon in terms of having to leave the club. Sam Allardyce found that out as well. It's kind of results, funny enough, are only part of the story at West Ham United. For us, it's style of football. It's historic. It's in our roots. It goes back to Ron Greenwood in the 50s and 60s. I think he came from Arsenal as a coach. He watched the Hungarian team of the 50s. and copied and replicated that kind of style, that kind of expansive one-touch football, touch and move, touch and move, touch and move. And you'll be surprised that the way he taught John Lyall, his student, Lyall carried that on. So between Ron Greenwood, who did manage England as well in the '82 World Cup, and John Lyall, who was up there as one of the best managers in his time in the league. Even Alex Ferguson looked up to him as a godfather. So much knowledge that he has, and you can see all the players he worked with, what they think of him. I think between them two, they've carried most of the West Ham history. And you watch John Lyall's matches from the 1980s, straight from the kickoff. It's rapid, it's pressing, it's fast, it's kind of aggressive, it's kind of moving to different areas, attacking the far post, the near post. It's what we want to see. It's get off your seat time. It's excitement, and in modern times, I think Alan Pardew had a reasonably good way of playing. Harry Redknapp, for all his faults, always played football the West Ham way. You know, people take the mick. What is the West Ham way? There is a West Ham way. Obviously, harder to kind of play that way, maybe because a lot of players, a lot of skill and technique are kind of not there anymore. They don't fit into that system. People like Joe Cole, Berkovic, Benyun, Paqueta, you know, it's difficult to kind of get those players involved because some coaches want them to just run and tackle. I believe that the number 10, that kind of player, you can cover him up with the rest of the team and allow him to be creative and concentrate on that point of his game rather than doing the other things. So it is possible to kind of adopt that type of player in your lineup, really. So I think the style of football is very, very important for me. I think the second thing to look at, and we will look at that quickly through the managers, I think the second thing for me, again, you're probably going to not agree, is the Premiership experience. I think that's very high on my list. So the style of football is very important. I want a manager who plays good football. He's able to really coach that into the team, the DNA of the club, from the academy all the way to the top. And this is my second one, the Premiership experience. Ideally, I'd want the candidate to have had some kind of sort of climate experience in our country, and hopefully the Premiership, you know, so they know what the league's about, how tough it is, the pressure. He's got good knowledge of the players, how the games change as the seasons progress, that kind of thing, really, and hopefully good grasp of English language and things like that. So that's kind of high up there for me, really, in terms of what I'll be looking for. The third thing for me, again, it's closely linked with style of football, is this one, tactics. Not only what tactics they're most famous for playing or what they do more frequently, but how often do they change it? Have they got a number 2 plan? Have they got a number 3 plan? Conte, again, go back to that Bournemouth example, although many more out there, changed it half-time, 3 plan. He does it frequently. If Spurs are not winning, doesn't matter where we are in the game, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 50, he's known for taking 2-3 people off straight away, and it changes the game, right? And obviously, he is the guy who brought the wing-back system. He used Moses, who played for us in the wing-back system. Alonso won the league with Chelsea. They'd never played like that before under Mourinho, right? So I want a manager who's good at more than one tactic, that he's shown and proven that he can play in more than one different way, that he's able to manage the game tactically, opponent to opponent, second half to the first half. He knows in-game management. He can bring the substitutes in at the right time. He can take players off at the right time. He can recognize when players are out of form and take them out the firing line for a bit. All these things that David Moyes is failing at, right? So that's kind of number 3 for me. Number 4, and I think this is high up on your list. It's not high up on my list, and we'll go for it now. It's kind of trophies. I'm not too worried about that because I'm hoping that we can perhaps get a young manager who hasn't had time to win, but the potential is there, right? So trophies, again, there's never that many to be won. There's always just the usual 5-6 teams that win trophies, right? There's obviously your country title, 1 or 2 domestic cups, and then you've got the 3 European trophies. There's not that many to go around when you consider how many clubs there are in the world, managers. So it's not that important for me if it's there. If they've won a trophy, even better. They know what it's like to win. Someone like Mourinho is a winner, right? But it's not that high up for me. And the least thing I look at is obviously age. I'm not really worried about the age that much. it just depends where this person is in their life. They could be 60, 50, 40. If they're good enough, they're young enough, and if they're old enough, then they're experienced enough. So that's kind of the 5 criteria that we're going to be looking at, really. So the first manager I'm going to look at, and I'm going to go again from the oldest to the youngest, just to kind of have some kind of form and way of going through these managers and putting them in some kind of order, really. So the first one is Marcelo Bielsa. Bielsa is 67 years old, and him alongside, I think, all of the others we're going to talk about, they're all out of a job. So this board doesn't like to have managers, and they haven't had managers that have been with another club, so you have to kind of pay for them. So most of the managers they've had, if not all of them, have been at that time been free. So there's no money, nothing like that to worry about, really. So Bielsa, age, 67, very, very old. The worrying thing, obviously, even though I did say age doesn't matter, is that the motivation for some of these people that are in their 60s, it's not going to be there, because you get tired. It's a very hard job, a lot of hours, controlling a lot of things. You're going to get tired mentally, right? And then, like we found with David Moyes, these managers are still doing things they did when they first started to become a manager. So 20 years into it, 15 years, those ideas are so old, but they've not managed to get released out of their mind, and they're still doing those things. So that is the kind of worry with these type of managers. Bielsa's, the thing with him, he will not become West Ham manager, because I think he said no in the past. There's something, rumours that he doesn't like the owners. There's something's happened in the past that they've spoken to each other. It's just not gone well. The other thing with Bielsa is, it's kind of good in a way, but he trains you so hard. You kind of the engine burns on a player. He works you really, really over the top in a silly way. He likes to do 4-1-4-1. He's got the Premiership experience. In terms of trophies, he's won the 2nd Division title. He's also won he's an Olympic medalist. Well, whatever that. Well, probably had the Olympic team at one point. So 67, likes to play 4-1-4-1. It is a kind of a pressing game, but I think at the back it's shocking. A bit like Pellegrini's time at West Ham. You're very open at the back, and a lot of the time, as the season develops, you find that you concede a lot, and the players will get tired. You know, to kind of keep running and playing according to him, because he's such a tough sort of taskmaster, it's difficult. So for me, I don't really want him. And another thing I look at is called PPM. It's points per match. And looking at it, if it's near 2, that's very good for managers. So looking at Bielsa's time at Leeds, 170 matches, his PPM is 1.61. So that's not bad. Before that, Lille, very small spell at Lille, is just 1.07, not very good. Marseille, 6 years ago, 1.68. Athletic, 1.42. Chile manager, well, only 50 games, 1.8. Argentina manager, perfect record, 3 points, 6 games as manager there. So a lot of good experience. Some of you out there, I'm sure, are going to select him and pick him. For me, I think his style is just, it's very cumbersome. It's very army-like. It's a very SAS training. How long can a player play like that? You're gonna burn them out, and half of them probably won't do it. So because of that, and the way he is, maybe in some ways the tactics are just a little bit aging, I think, in some ways, and I don't think he's got another way of playing. You've seen it in the games, even when they're 3-0, 4-0 down, he just carried on playing the same way. So for me, it's a no-no, but it's a consideration. It's kind of there, really. The second one is a manager very well known and connected with for a long time. It's Rafa Benitez. He's 62. He likes the 4-2-3-1 system. Last job was at Everton, a very low PPM of 1.14. Only lasted 22 matches. So it's kind of beginning to slide down for him now. And also due to his age and trophies won at the early part of his career, certainly with Liverpool, I don't think the motivation is there. It's more a case of perhaps one last financial sort of package for him in his retirement. Newcastle PPM was 1.48. I don't think that's that bad under the owners at Newcastle back then. Mike Ashley didn't have much money, and he kind of made them fairly safe. So But Everton, I think, didn't do too well. Real Madrid, PPM of 2.24. He lasted 25 matches there. Napoli manager as well, 1.87. Chelsea, 1.96. Inter, 1.68. Liverpool, a PPM of 1.90, everyone, over 350 matches. Seeing the pedigrees there with the man. Tactically very, very clever. It's not a fluke that he succeeded in most of the sort of places he's been at. It's just that his last two roles it's not been so good. 1.14 Everton, 1.16 DL Pro. I think they're the Chinese club. Didn't do very well there. So for me, it's a case of 62, and I don't think there's any motivation for him to come to West Ham apart from perhaps living the life in London a bit and earning a good whack. And it's just purely for those reasons. I think as a short gap, as a caretaker manager, no problem. I don't think he commands respect. He knows the Premiership League, as you know. So trophies are there. Premiership experience is there. Tactically, he's very clever. It's just the age and the motivation for me related to that. I think that's kind of, it's kind of in his way a bit, really. Style of football, again, it isn't that bad. He does adapt himself depending on the club. Listen, he changes tactics at Chelsea. Newcastle needed to be safe. He did that side of it. It's just that perhaps this job has come 5-6 years too late for him. I think 4 or 5 years ago, he would have been right up on our radar. I think before the Newcastle job, perhaps back then. So for me, it's just kind of nosediving a bit for him. But certainly a lot of you will like him. So I do understand that. The next one is also 62 years old, same age as Benitez. It's Joachim, isn't it? Joachim Löw, our sort of Germany World Cup winner, our beloved, lovable, nose-picking rogue, Mr. Löw. Some very funny pictures of him sticking his hands up his backside and sniffing them. So certainly if he'd come, there'd be a lot of funny photos in the dugout. And he's done a good job at international level with Germany. Like I said, in terms of a trophy, he's won the World Cup, which is absolutely fantastic. Let me see what else he's won. Let's have a look. So he's won the Confederations Cup winner, Austrian champion, German Cup winner, and the World Cup winner. 62. The problem with him, I think he's been out of touch on the club scene for a long time. I think he took over the Germany job in 2006. So that's a long time. That's 16 years out of club football. That's a bit too long for me. And it would be a risk. He's never managed in the Premiership, and managing club and country is very different. Very, very different. I would say, especially if you're manager of Germany, it's not easy, but it's slightly easier because you've kind of got good players to choose from, and you haven't got the headache of the day-to-day you have, so it's slightly easier that way. So for me, it'll be a bit of a risk. You don't know how he would hit the ground running. Not sure how good his English is. He's not used to the Premiership. He hasn't managed any club football in 16 years. Good things, I think tactically he's fine. Style of football's fine. So it's a bit of 50-50 for me, and it's just too much of a risk for me, I think. And especially the one thing I just want to be honest about is there's whoever comes in, all right, you're probably going to give him a 4, 5, 6 year contract, but there's no way, no manager's going to hang around more than 2 years. It's just not happening. So whatever the board are thinking, just don't come out with those statements that we're going to have a 10-year plan or a 5-year plan. You ain't going to have that time. There's very few managers that last more than 3 years. So get a manager in that can lift this a little bit to the next level, 2 years, and then you look again. That's just being honest and the way I see it, really. So not for me. I think there's a few things in there that I mentioned, a bit risky, really. The next one is obviously one of my favourites, if not my favourite for the job. That's Poch. Absolutely loved him at Spurs, what he did. The man who did the pressing football that I dare say Klopp replicated a bit at Liverpool. Lots of youngsters came through. Very good age. He's only 50 now anyway. He's only 50. He likes 4-3-3. This system is telling me. He's managed big clubs. He's managed small clubs. And his PPM is really good. PSG, PPM 2.15, 84 games. So he learned to manage some big personalities there. Spurs, 1.84. That's a great ppm. Before he came to Spurs, they were usually 7th or 8th. Turned them into top 4, where Conte's benefiting from that. The new ground, that's all built back of the foundation that Poch done. Very difficult to manage a club with Daniel Levy back in those times. Didn't really get all the backing, but so many players came through under him. And ppm 1.84. Southampton 60 games 1.45. Espanyol 1.22. So I think there's a lot of work to be done for him in terms of motivation. Come to West Ham, you can show Spurs they were wrong. They're down the road. West Ham Spurs, you'll be up for it. He's learnt the language he didn't at the beginning, and I think he's good at tactics and man management, I think, and bringing young players in. I used to love the way he used to put his arm around young players coming. You can just tell he's got that kind of thing about him. So I would love him to kind of come, and yeah, style of football is fine. He can defend and he can press as well. It's brilliant, great age, 50. Prime for a manager, I think. Premiership experience ticks that box as well. Trophies is the one. I know you guys are going to mention that. For me, it's not a big issue. Got close a couple of times, but not really a big issue for me. I think in time, the next challenge for us would be to try to finish 5th or 6th or top 4, a bit more than we are doing at the moment, and improve the style of football, improve the academy, put pressure on the ball to improve the training ground facilities, and hopefully this man can do that. So trophies, yep, I understand that, but not too concerned about that. Tactics, he's absolutely brilliant. Really, really good tactically, very, very good, no doubt about that. So Poch for me probably be my favourite. Second one, everyone, is a guy who's 1 year younger than Poch at the age of 49. It's Mr. Thomas Tuchel. Mr. Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel, bloody hell, that's a bit of a mouthful. 49 years old, preferred formation 3-4-2-1. Again, I wouldn't look at or worry about the way Chelsea got rid of him. Chelsea just like that, just get rid of very, very good managers. Just one of those things. Conte's not a bad manager. He got the chop, didn't he? This guy Mourinho, so many world-class managers that just don't last more than 2 years, but nothing really wrong with these managers, I don't think. Style of football's fine. He was at PSG. He's very, very demanding. He can change tactics and change them game to game, so no issue with that. Good age, 49, in his prime. Premiership experience ticks that box. Trophies, certainly got the trophies there. Actually, he's got a lot. It goes into the next page, actually, in terms of trophies. So let's have a look. So he's got the UEFA Super Cup winner, French champion, Champions League winner, FIFA Club World Cup winner, world's best club coach. So certainly the pedigree's there, and it's just about the club. If you got the ambition, give him a little bit more money. But going back to, I think we've got a really good squad as a starting point for a manager to come in, and they just need a bit of revamping, new message, and play better football. Put your arm around them, encourage them, and then we'll be fine, mate. We'll be fine. So again, it's about your ambition. I believe you can get any manager out there, but it depends on how you're going to sell the project to them. So that's Mr. Thomas Tuchel. The one that a lot of people forgot about, Andre Villas-Boas, which is kind of, where is he? He's there, and he's there. Oh, bloody hell, I don't know how to do these. There you go. There he is. Obviously, he's known for us. He managed... well, the thing with him, he's only 45 and he's been a manager for a decade or more. Became a very, very young manager. And what I like about him is the style of football above anything else. He plays some good football, right? And he has taken charge of some big clubs, If you go back to Porto 2010, ppm of 2.62, that is through the roof. That got him the Chelsea job. Season there, ppm 1.75. Couple of years at Chelsea, Spurs, ppm 1.91. Zenit, ppm of 2.08. SIBG, I think the Chinese league, 2.04. Last job, Marseille, ppm 1.67. It's all right. I mean, I think he's multilingual. He's young, got so much experience. He's got the Premiership experience, a good age. In terms of trophies, a lot of trophies there. He's won the Russian Super Cup. He's won the Russian League. He's won the Portuguese Cup. He's won the Portuguese League. He's a Europa League winner, amongst other things, and he's from Portugal. So I think I like it that he's got Premiership experience. He plays good football. He's young, and I think he's got a great experience for that age that he can bring into our club. And hopefully, along that long journey, lots of clubs, he's built a good reputation with the scouts. He's got good knowledge of the players in different countries. I would give him a crack. He's the kind of manager that Watford or someone like go, but I would go for it, mate. I think he'd be up there. I think it's well worth mentioning on my list. Let me know in the comments. So that's Andre Villas-Boas. Another surprising mention, but I thought we just have to mention it because of the big name this guy is. It's Steven Gerrard. It's miserable Steven Gerrard. Gerrard, age-wise, is only 42. And obviously, in terms of trophies won, he has won the Scottish League once. That's his one trophy. His PPM at Rangers was 2.15, 192 matches. Villa, shocking PPM. Points per match are 1.18. Absolutely shocking. Everything went wrong you can imagine. There was no motivation for the players. Weird way of playing. You wasted a lot of money or didn't play the players the right way. You had people like Bailey, who's doing well now. Bounia just wasn't played. Watkins, he's gone back to his old self on the last 2 games since Gerrard's gone. So age is kind of good. But the thing with age with him, I think he's too young. I think you still need to find out a bit more about him. I'm not sure if I'd want to place the West Ham's keys with him. It's a big risk. And I don't think he's that popular at West Ham due to the FA Cup 2006. I don't think that's going to go down too well with him. And there's something about him like David Moyes. He does. I think he clashes with the players a lot. I think he had a really bad relationship with Tyrone Mings, was it, the captain? Threw him out the team. I mean, I don't think Tyrone is that bad. He's captain, but he's got that thing to him. Even the fans said he's just a miserable git. He didn't really try to make any effort with the fans. He's a bit stuck up. But I thought we have to consider it, in terms of just talking about him as a potential candidate. Premiership experience, well, he's got that season with Villa and he played all his life there, didn't he? Trophies got 1, tactics. So it's not ticking the box, but I thought we'd talk about it, really. So not many things going for him at the moment, and I would just watch and see what he does with perhaps a championship team, but I certainly wouldn't give him the keys to quite a big club like us, really. So that's him. We're on to the last one now, and I didn't really know much about him. He's actually age 37. He's the youngest, Domenico Tedesco, and he is... I'm really bad with these. I can't even... He's in the corner there. I don't know how to do it. Can I do it with this one? I can't do this. Oh, there he is. There he is. And how do I do it? That way, and it's at the bottom. That's it. That's it. That guy at the bottom. That guy at the bottom. There you go. I can't do it. Tedesco. Domenico Tedesco, 37 years old. Citizenship, he's from Italy. Plays good football. Tactics that he likes is 3-4-1-2. So young managers, full of energy. He's managed in RB Leipzig, PPM of 1.87 a season there, 1.69 at Spartak Moscow, 1.57 at Schalke, 1.82. I'm not sure what league that club's in, Erzberg. I'm not sure what club they're. Let me click on that team. Not sure where they're from, but that was a Austrian, looks like, I think. Quite low, but then he's built himself slowly, really. Hoffenheim under 19 manager, and he's improving 1.6, 1.80 then 1.57 ppm, then 1.69, then 1.87 with RB. Very, very good tactician, good football, good tactics. But again, I think he's maybe, if you want to take a risk, go for it. I mean, Southampton took Poch and things like that. I mean, if you want to go for it, go for it. Style of football's fine, tactically he's fine. Trophies, he's got 1 trophy, which is the German Cup winner. So he's won a cup. Premiership experience, he hasn't got any age. Again, like Gerrard, could be very young, but unlike Gerrard, he has done well at a number of clubs, unlike him, in different countries, which is kind of good, but predominantly Germany. But he has been to Russia and done well with a really big club over there. So those are the 7 or 8 candidates to think about, everyone. For me, my favourite is Pochettino, alongside, I think, Thomas Tuchel, if you can get them out of there. And also, as we spoke about it, I do like Andre Villas-Boas. I do like him. So those three, I think I would speak to. Those three I would speak to. They've all got Premiership experience. They're all young, kind of in their prime as managers. Very good tacticians. Superb style of football. Andre Villas and Poch. I think Andre Villas would play the best football out of all of them. Poch has got the good both sides to it. Pressing game, good defensively, and reasonably attacking as well. Tuchel, quite flexible as well, but also careful. We've got to be careful that we don't go down a Pellegrini route where we keep the trapdoor at the back open. We don't want to do that. We want to be reasonably kind of good all around the ground, all around the pitch, isn't it? Really. So those three, I think, I would consider in terms of interviews, and then see how those goes. And then obviously, some will say yes, some will say no. You might not like something about them, backroom team issues. I don't know. Then you move on to the next one. But I think Bielsa, Benitez, Gerrard are a no-no for me. Low, yeah, I wouldn't risk it. I'm not sure I'd go for him. So I think it's out of Poch, Tuchel, Villas-Boas, and Dominica. I think, yeah, the last guy, Tedesco, is it Dominica Tedesco? Yeah, those four perhaps I would speak to and see how things go. But we've got to move quick. A lot of these managers, obviously, we don't know. They might not be around, but it's a risk. I mean, we've been told by The Athletic that we're going to wait until the end of the season for Moyes. You can write off the whole season, then forget about it. Just chug along, like I told you, 4 points every 5 games. Let's see if we win a cup. That's about it. We're not going to get into Europe through the league, and by then, you're going to demotivate all the players. You're going to lose form. They're going to lose value. They want to leave. Do you want that risk? I'll get him out the door now. It should have been done after the Chelsea game, but it just bobbed along. But anyway, I thought I'd do the show. I hope you enjoyed it. Gave you a bit of an insight at what's out there. Obviously, there's quite a few that I couldn't cover. I thought these are the kind of managers I kind of know a little bit about, and I think half of them do a good job for us, really. So keep watching, keep subscribing. A lot of you, again, watching but not subscribing, and we'll catch up with the next show. So take care. Have a great evening. Come on, Poch, get in there.